Greetings, Deep Dive Podcast listeners. This is your boy, Sam Orum, coming at you with another episode of the Deep Dive Podcast. What's going on, family? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Man, I'm excited. I'm excited about tonight's topic. I'm excited. Had a great week. I hope you had a great week so far as well. It's a great time. It's a great time to be really focusing in on our individual lives. We're trying to close out 2024, prepare for 2025. And so it's just been a good time to do some things to move forward. As most of you know, those of you who have followed the podcast, we got about one more week after tonight in this season, and then we'll prepare for season 5, which kicks off with a bang in January. But we want to kind of get into some things tonight that people have. I'll specifically tell you how this topic came about in a second. Before I do that, though, those of you who have been followers of the podcast forever, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I say this all the time, but I really appreciate um, your support. You know, all of the through the ups and downs of the podcast for 4 years, and just starting out. I think my very first guest was my good friend, my buddy Daniel Shorter. And from the time I did that very first podcast, where I'm like nervous, I'm like, okay, is the mic gonna work and this and all of this? I'm just like, oh my God, what am I gonna say? How am I gonna do this? I'm not used to interviewing people and all of that stuff. And I'm just like, dotting T's and crossing I's. And it's kind of like when you have a newborn baby, you want to make sure all the electrical plugs are covered when they start walking, and when they crawl, you want to make sure they're not putting stuff, all this stuff. And then after they're a year or two old, they're out in the backyard eating dirt. That's kind of how I am with the podcast now. Y'all tell me something to talk about, I cut on the mic, cut on the camera, and start talking. All this other stuff, it is what it is. If it ain't what it ain't. If you don't like it, you're gonna like it. But that's kind of where I am. But I appreciate that support, man. I know I say it every week, and I'm gonna say it every single episode how much I appreciate you guys. And for those of you who are here for the very first time, you're probably wondering what's wrong with this crazy dude. I get some feedback from some of the international markets sometime, and some of you know that the podcast, it actually airs in 172 different countries. And sometimes I get some of the feedback, and they don't, in other countries, a lot of times they don't get our American humor, in particular, my American humor, because I'm really not funny. So it's like, what they're like, what are you talking about, dude? But hey, look, it is what it is. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate you if you're here for the very first time. Hopefully you get some, nuggets that you can improve the quality of your life, whatever it is that you're doing. And yeah, welcome to the Deep Dive Podcast. We're going to jump right into a topic tonight that there was a guy, I think his name I think it's pronounced Ramal, Ramal. And he left a message, and he, very extensive message. So Ramal, I appreciate it. I'm not going to give you information, just for your privacy. But, he talked about, I sensed frustration, even in his message, I sensed frustration. He talked about so many people and so much negativity that's going on around the world, quite frankly. And, he's frustrated with the levels of negativity, negative people, negative environments, negative political environments, just all this negativity. And when I thought about it, I'm like, man, Ramal, you're right. You're absolutely right. And so he was asking questions, in terms of what are some things that he could do to continue to succeed and thrive in such a negative environment. And he went into some details of his personal environment, but then also just negativity in general. And so I decided to do this podcast tonight, this particular episode, to talk about how to deal with negativity on a multitude of levels, whether it's negativity in political realms, whether it's negativity in terms of the people, whatever it may be, you know. Um, how do you get rid of negativity? One of the first things that come to my mind is you kind of have to set boundaries. What do I mean by setting boundaries? Well, you got to limit your exposure to negative people. You got to limit your exposure to negative environments. Let me ask y'all this. Have y'all ever met somebody or talked to somebody and every time You talk to this person, no matter what it is, when you see him or her, they always talking about something negative. They're always talking about something negative. I mean, just as sure as the sun come up and the sun set, if they open their mouth, they're talking about something negative. That's toxic, man. You have to stay away from those kind of people. Sometimes a lot of people would ask me, and I'm just gonna be transparent. I'm not being mean. I'm just Carol, Lisa, I'm just pre-warning you. I'm not being mean. I'm just being transparent. So let me just say this. But it's like people ask, well, why don't you, answer your phone calls? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? A lot of times it's because I don't want to be on the phone for an hour listening to negative crap. I just don't. Certain people I already know as soon as I see their number pop up on my phone, it's going to be something negative. A woe is me story. A woe is this story. Look, I subscribe to the one to a casket theory. That means I got to worry about my dash that is my life. So when I put in my casket, I'm accountable for me. I ain't got time to be worried about all this negative stuff. Show ain't got time to be gossiping and all of this other stuff. I can care less. I could care less. I could care less what other people are doing with their lives. And I don't want to hear all that negative stuff. So sometimes people are like, why didn't you take my call? I don't tell them this. I don't tell them this. They may know now. I don't want to hear all that negative stuff. I don't want to hear it. Then there's some people though. Y'all know this. This is on the good side. When you see that name pop up, you just start laughing before you even pick up the phone. You start smiling before you pick up, because you know they're gonna say something funny, or you know they're gonna, bring some joy to your life or something to that effect. It's like you can't wait. It's gonna bring joy. It's gonna bring joy. I love the kids because kids bring me joy just to see them running around and carefree and not having a care in the world. They ain't bringing all this negative stuff. I love kids and I love old people. I love the kids. I said this before. I love the kids and I love old people. I respect them. They are wise. There's no substitute for years. I don't care how much books and education you got. There's no substitute for the wisdom of years. So I love kids. I love old people. And I guess you got to quantify what old people is, because some people I say I'm old people, but you know what I'm talking about. But it's y'all jokers in the middle. They get on my nerves. It's like, God, Lee, go on somewhere with that. Miss me with that. Miss me with that. I ain't even trying to. Let me get back on my thing. Yeah, I go with some negative stuff. But sometimes, in all honesty, you just kind of have to limit the time. And when I talk about setting boundaries, you have to kind of limit the time you're engaging with negative people. Now, there are situations where you cannot avoid it. It may be your employer at your job, or or some one of your coworkers or church members or whatever it may be, and you have to interact, right? But you can just set boundaries on what it is, that how this negative stuff can infiltrate your life. Look, when I clock out, not me, but when you clock out at 5 o'clock or every job you work, don't take that stuff home and don't let them start calling you after work. Talking about, child, let me tell you, gone. No, no, don't even do it. Limit, set those boundaries. And it can be environments too, not just people. It can be environments. If you're in an environment that could cost you, whatever that may be, it could cost you. You can be in the midst of a group of people and something illegal happens and you're held accountable. You didn't even do anything, but you're in the midst of a group of people that was doing something illegal. So you got to be careful of your environments as well, not just people. And you also got to, here's a big one. You have to refrain from just negative thoughts. Some people just they just create negative thoughts. I mean, every time they just think negatively. Challenge those negative thoughts and replace those negative thoughts with positive thoughts, or just some type of a different perspective. I've said this time and time again, but the mind, it is impossible. It is impossible for the mind to have two thoughts at the same time. It is impossible. The mind cannot have two thoughts at the same time. I challenge everybody that's within the sound of my voice. I challenge you to do this. I want to prove my point. I challenge you to do this. Brush your teeth and comb your hair or brush your hair at the same time. Brush your teeth and brush your hair or comb your hair at the same time. I promise you, you're going to be challenged with doing that. I promise you, you will be challenged at brushing your hair and brushing your teeth at the same time, because the mind can't occupy two thoughts at a time. So if you have all of these negative thoughts and you're always negative and you feel negative, down, depressed, and I don't mean clinically depressed, because that's a thing too. That's a real thing you can't control. But just being negative and depressed because you want to be negative and depressed, just change your thoughts. Change your thoughts. You can instantaneously change how you feel. I promise you that, because your mind cannot occupy two thoughts at the same time. Even if you have to engage in positive self-talk, then just do positive self-talk. Affirm to yourself, or affirm yourself with encouraging words. Encourage yourself. I'm strong. I'm great. I'm beautiful. I'm smart. Whatever. Engage in positive self-talk, but do whatever you need to do to not be subjected to negative thoughts, negative situations, just self-torture. Don't do that. No, that's an abomination. Get into a situation where you're lifting yourself up. I lift people up all the time. I call kings kings and queens queens, and beautiful people beautiful people, billionaires billionaires. I acknowledge you for the person that either you are or you will be, but I acknowledge you in the form of a positive address. I address you in a positive manner. Hey, beautiful, how are you? What's up, king? How you doing? Those type things, because I believe in positive self-talk. And another part of that is, we talked about not being around negative people, but the antithesis of that is to always be around people who have positive thoughts, positive energy, who can help you grow. Have you guys heard of the phrase rubbing elbows with the rich? Have you ever heard that before? Rubbing elbows with the rich? It doesn't literally mean rubbing elbows with the rich. What that means is you're in an environment where people are talking about things that will advance their lives or the quality of their lives, and they're not talking about foolishness. Wealthy people aren't talking about foolish stuff. Well, let me take that back, because we got stupid running. Well, anyway, wealthy people are typically talking about things that's going to benefit and advance either their lives, your lives, their business, whatever it may be. They're going to be talking about those things. You want to be talking about those things. You want to be talking about things in an environment with positive people who are going places, who are even if you haven't had the level of success yet that you so desire, but you got that positive energy, you got that positive vibe around you. And it's just, man, no matter what the situation, no matter what the environment, they're happy, they have good attitude and good energy. That's what you want to be around. That's what I want to be around. I love being around people that got good energy, positive energy, because it keeps me fired up. So you want to surround yourself with positivity. Spend time with uplifting people, not people that's going to tear you down. Spend time with people that's going to inspire you. And by the way, side note, if you're the smartest person in every room that you walk into, if you're the smartest person in there, you will always lose. You will always lose. This is kind of a side note. I probably need to do a podcast on this. But there's no room to grow if you're always the smartest person in the room you walk into. There's no room to grow. Nobody is in a situation to help you grow. You're helping them grow, but no one is helping you grow. I intentionally and I typically strive to be in a room or converse with people who are smarter than I am, who have more money than I do, who have a bigger vision, all of these things, so that I can continue to grow. I have a bigger fish tank because and the fish that are in it, they're allows me to grow. I'm not the biggest fish in the tank. That's not going to allow me to grow. It's not going to allow you to grow, right? And that tank should be filled with people who are have positive energy, positive vision. So I surround myself with people who that they allow me to grow. They look at me as like, hey, what can I do to help you advance your agenda? I look at them like, hey, how can I learn from how you're advancing your agenda? That's where you want to be. And quite frankly, I seek out these people. I don't care who it is. I'll find them. I can pick up the phone and within 6 phone calls, I can pretty much converse with anybody in the world within 6 phone calls. I don't say that for any other reason than, not trying to say, how I am great and all that. That's not my point. My point is I put myself in a position where if I need to know something, need to do something, need to have something, need to speak to somebody, I don't care who it is, I have a way to do that. Right. And that's important because if I need to, it no matter what industry it is, if I need some help in, the real estate industry, I know how to make some calls to speak to the top people in that industry, top people in the music industry, top people in television. I have to pick if I have to pick up the phone and call somebody in the industry, I'm not calling anybody that you can advance an agenda. I'm calling the very top, whoever he or she may be. And I don't take that for granted. I don't take it lightly. I earned that right. And I earned that right by working hard to get to a point to be able to make within 6 phone calls, speak to pretty much anybody in the world. Okay. So that's what surrounding yourself with positive people, positivity, positive energy. You know, something else I think that's going to help people moving forward is to do just that, move forward. So many people have so many past grievances and past stuff. I mean, what can you do about it? If you've already learned from it, look forward. Who cares what happened to you in 1950? Who cares what's went on at, all of this stuff? Learn from it, grow from it, and move, look forward. You will suffer the curse of stagnation that I talk about all the time if the only thing you can talk about is what happened in the past relationships, past marriages. Okay, did you learn from it? If you did, what are you going to do to move forward? Here's why most people focus on the past instead of focusing on the future, because it's easier to deal with stuff that already happened as opposed to creating a new future. It's difficult to create a new future, and a lot of people they don't want to accept that challenge. So they keep talking about the past. They talked about the past. They talk about the past, even good stuff in the past. They talk about the past. I get people a lot of times when I do meetings and people may read my bio or, go through a process of edification, which is cool. I understand it and I appreciate it. But at the end of the day, everything that you're reading, I've done it. Well, that don't have nothing to do with the future. Just because I did this 20 years ago, okay, great. Now, how did I grow from it and be prepared for the next 20 years, God willing? Right? So you want to be able to understand that dynamic as well. Get off of the old past negative stuff. You in a bad relationship in the past. Don't let that prohibit you from getting into a great relationship in the future. No, get rid of that stuff. And you can certainly miss me with all that old school negative stuff. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I just don't want to hear it. Move forward. I keep losing my train of thought because I get off on these tangents. Y'all pray for me, all right? Y'all pray for me. I keep getting off on these tangents, and then I have to remember, what is this podcast about? Oh, it's about getting rid of negativity. So y'all just pray for your boy, all right? Look, something else you got to do to get rid of this negativity, and this is a big one. You got to limit this social media consumption. I'm telling you, man, you got to look. Social media is a great thing, especially for business and things of that nature, but it is getting absolutely out of control with negativity. a lot of this stuff, and y'all got to believe me when I tell you this, a lot of this stuff through social media, it's not even real. I don't mean just the people. I'm talking about the advertisements. I'm talking about all these things that is just not real. You got China, you got Russia, you got hackers, you got all of these people who is putting misinformation out there, and you're creating a lifestyle on misinformation. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? The Chinese are saying this, that, and thus, and you're looking at it like, oh, my cousin said this. That wasn't your cousin. That was a Chinaman. I'm sorry. That was a Chinese person. Shout out to my Asian friends. Right? No, man. You gotta be wise. And then you got all of this AI stuff that's going on. You got these ads and stuff running through social media, like, the government gonna pay you $6,400. Oprah said this, Tyler Perry said that. If y'all look at their lips moving and the words that you're hearing, it's not in sync. You know why it's not in sync? Because Oprah's not saying that. Tyler Perry's not saying that. This is some AI foolishness. And you go around, well, Oprah said I should buy this vitamin. Oprah didn't say that. Oprah don't even know what that vitamin is. That's some AI garbage, and you're creating your life from this social media foolishness. Just be genuine to who you are, no matter what it is. You got all of these people with all of these filters and duck lips kissing the screen and all of this stuff. What's going to happen when you see this person in real life? They're going to be like, what the hell happened to you? No, don't worry about all that. Be who you are. Be who you are. Don't suck up all this negative stuff and worry about how people gonna perceive you. If they gonna ever see you, they gonna perceive you in a certain way. So you might as well look that way now. You're all kissing in the camera with the duck lips and the filter. Who cares? Miss me with that too. Anyway, I'm still offside. Oh Lord, bless my mama, rest her soul. I can hear her now. Boy, stop. Go on, do what you can. Just shut up and keep on going. How you do that? Shut up and keep on going. In other words, get back on message. All seriousness, though, guys, you gotta just in being real, you gotta limit um how you consume social media. I know I'm joking a lot and all this other stuff, but you gotta limit how you consume social media. You gotta be wise about it. Okay. Because if you don't, you're going to start that negative stuff is going to start to permeate your spirit. It's going to start to permeate your soul. And the next thing you know, you're a negative person, not even knowing why, because, these Chinese or whoever it may be through TikTok sent these crazy messages and you believed it. It's going to help you to understand what all of that's about. But if you want to change some of that negative thoughts and then just express gratitude for everything. I think I told you about this before, and it's in my book, The Mindset of a Champion. You see it over one of my shoulders. I don't know which one, but The Mindset of a Champion. It talked about every champion that I interviewed or studied, every single one, not some of them, not a few of them, not half of them, every single one practice gratitude. And I heard Oprah Winfrey say this, the real Oprah Winfrey. I heard her say this before about how important practicing gratitude is, even if it's something small, even if it's something that you didn't want to happen, but you're grateful. You have to be grateful to God that, hey, look, I'm here, I'm provided for. So I'm grateful for what I have. I'm grateful for where I am. Just practice and express your gratitude. Practice your gratitude, first of all, and then express that gratitude, and then give your creator the just due in terms of thanking God. Practice that gratitude. Now, sometimes to get rid of negative stuff, you need to seek support. That support can be from a friend, it can be from a family member or whatever it may be, but mentor, therapist. If you just all the time feeling bad, all the time negative, all this stuff, just sometimes you got to seek support. Talk to a trusted friend, talk to a mentor, a therapist about how you feel. I'm a big believer in all of those. A big believer in conversing with trusted friends, people who ain't gonna put your business in the street and all this stuff, and who's gonna always uplift you no matter what, no matter how bad the situation is. I used to tell my friends when I was coming up, this is This is my old school friends. All my buddies and friends and girlfriends and friends and all this stuff now, they all deal in positivity because that's all I surround myself with now. But back in the day when I'm coming up with my boys and all of this, like, look, I'm loyal. I'm loyal. You do something crazy, I'm not. I don't mean this literal. So this is figuratively speaking what I'm about to say. But you do something crazy, I'm gonna help you bury the body. But just remember, I know where we buried the body. Oh Lord, I'm cracking myself up. But and I don't mean let me make sure I say that again. I'm using that. That's street reference. Not literally burying the body. That's just like I got your back. I got your back, but don't ever cross me. But that was back in the day. Now I got friends that you trust them. I trust them unequivocally. And it's like, hey, I've surrounded myself with this type people. But you want to make sure that you keep those people around you. You express the gratitude for the things that you have. You seek the support of friends, mentors, therapists. It's very, very important, especially to our men. Men, we want to be macho and all of this other kind of stuff. The brain ain't macho. The brain was programmed to think you're macho. Everybody's brain is the same, right? If you need help, you need help. And there are chemical situations that will not allow you to thrive. And you need to have some type of interaction, whether it's medical interaction or therapeutic interaction. But don't be too macho to get help. To get help. All right. So all of these things, guys, it'll help you get rid of all of these negative thoughts, negative people, negative situations, negative environments. Practice forgiveness. Practice forgiveness. Let go of grudges, let go of resentment. That's going to free you from negativity. I'm telling you, that's going to free you from negativity. Just let go of these grudges, let go of resentment. All of these things is going to free you from negativity. Now, here's what I need from y'all. I need y'all to pray for me on that topic because I feel like I forgive people. But then by the same token, I still want to smack them sometimes. So maybe I haven't forgiven them, huh? maybe the fact that I still may want to smack them, I probably hadn't forgiven them. I don't know. Y'all pray for me about that, right? But anyway, guys, hopefully this information helped in terms of how to deal with negativity. It's a process. It's all a process. And we just got to go through and do the things that we need to do the things that we know to do in order to have a long-term successful life, long-term successful relationships, a quality of life that's full of joy and that's full of excitement. So with that, this is going to conclude this particular episode. We're going to wrap up the season next week. I think it is the last episode of the season. I don't even know what's in store yet. I'm probably get a guess, but we'll see. And but I appreciate the support, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, download, and share the podcast. Let's go out in this season and win. Let's win big. Go to the website, the deepdivepodcast.live. Listen to other episodes. We'll probably do some repeats during the hiatus, just some of the top rated episodes. But let's keep pushing forward. Empowerment never stops, and blessing other people never stop. With that, I appreciate each and every one of you. Let's continue to grow. Let's continue to help each other. And I'll see you on the beaches of the world. God bless.